when he's got a project, whether it's a sport or homework or drawing, and he zeroes in and you look at him and the rest of the world is gone. And he's in the work he does, then how he performs in whatever that task is always exceptional.
How are you? Where are you at? Are you in LA? Are you in New York? Where are you at?
Texas.
Oh, Texas. All right. Let me stop. I know you.
That's all right. First 3 words ever said.
A father, a husband, a philosopher, a professor, and an award-winning actor. Matthew McConaughey in the building, this time with a #1 New York Times bestseller titled Just Because. First and foremost, Matthew, that is insane. Adding that to your resume, congratulations. How does it feel?
Thank you. Yeah, you know, I've been getting asked. I found out yesterday that it was a New York Times #1 bestseller. So I'm like, how's that feel? I get home last night. Kids got balloons and we had cheeseburgers to celebrate.
What?
Yeah. So, and I got asked, do you think, you'd have this success? I was like, look, when I wrote Green Lights, I didn't know that would be as successful as it turned out. So then I wrote something that's a children's book. And I mean, I hoped it would do well. I thought it would resonate. I thought it'd be something that could be useful and fun for parents and their kids. But we're off to a great start, and I hope the conversation keeps going.
Talk to me first about the inspiration for this children's book.
So having kids, as I do.
3 of them.
You start to sort of see and think and make sense of the world through the lens of having children as well. Very differently than when I didn't have children. And so evidently I have some dreams that are through that lens of having children as well, which this was a dream, and it was just a ditty of a beat. I don't know what I was listening to before I went to bed, but it was sort of this Bob Dylan ditty in my head that I was just kind of, just because you threw the dart doesn't mean that it stuck. Just because you got skills don't mean there is no luck. And I woke up.
Love that.
You sometimes get a dream and you're like, oh, if I just keep the rhythm, I don't want to break the rhythm. And I just kind of quietly would go over and started writing.
Yeah.
And I just kept the rhythm. And all of a sudden, 4 hours later, I'd written basically what's in the book and had to look at it. And I was like, oh, I think that could be useful. That's some stuff I'm talking to my kids about. I hear my kids talking to their friends about that. I hear other parents talk about this stuff. So I put it down, and there it is, just because.
It sounds like you had a lot of downtime or time and room in your head to be introspective and reflective. Has this period in life, and maybe when did you kind of come up with this idea, has that period until now been the period where you had the most downtime, where you're able to be more present, and kind of that fueled the book?
Well, I mean, look, I think everyone had downtime with COVID for a few years.
Yeah.
And everyone was forced to get more introspective. And I know I definitely got more monastic, which I enjoy. I have to actually watch. I don't enjoy it too much. I start to start writing and enjoying my own company writing, that I almost become clumsy socially sometimes. So I had a lot of thoughts and I wrote things down for the last 4 years. But now that we've loosened up and my kids are on adventures and I'm going with them, now I'm sort of just like with the book, putting a lot of those ideas into action. Just because it came out and now it was like, if I wasn't, living live and moving around on the adventures with my kids, I probably wouldn't have seen, hey, what's the dispatch of this thought? How do I make it something to share and put it in a book form? And so that's where I'm at now. Is I think I'm looking at introspective thoughts I've had over the last 4 years and saying, how do I package those and share them, and what's worth sharing?
Just hearing you voice the book, you have a gift, and I'm not blowing smoke. Your voice is just so melodic, and I didn't realize that it would be the perfect audio voice to hear and be introduced to Just Because.
Just because I let go doesn't mean that I stopped climbing. Just because I mean it doesn't mean that I'm not lying.
It seems like it's full of lessons, life lessons, and don't worries. And this is kind of how you navigate, but from a children's perspective. What's one of your favorite lessons that you threw in the book?
Just because you're a leader, or just because you follow, doesn't mean you're not a leader. What's the second half of that one? Just because you follow doesn't mean you're...
Hold it up. This is like story time with Matthew McConaughey. My 5-year-old self would melt. Remember when we would be in a circle and then the teacher would hold the book up and turn the page and do like that?
So, here we are. Just because you follow doesn't mean you're not a leader. Just because I keep winning doesn't mean that I'm a cheater. I like that one. Like, I always thought growing up that leaders had to be in front. Well, you don't want to be in front if you don't know where you're going. You're a better leader if you pick the right person to follow that does know where they're going. That's a much better choice to be a leader as a child and an adult. Because if we're always in front, just because, I got to be the leader, I got to be in front. Well, you go, do you know where you're going? You're like, not really. That's not really being a good leader. But you pick the right person to follow at the right time. That's being a good leader. Just because I keep winning doesn't mean that I'm a cheater. That is, one of my least favorite words in the world is unbelievable. And when somebody does great things in life, is really successful, exceptional, we have a tendency to go, something must be up. I'm not sure. You know what I mean? Yeah. And sometimes that's true. But most often, it is just the awesomeness of human capacity. And you just got to go back and go, bravo. You are great at that. You didn't cheat. You just have an innate ability, and maybe you worked harder at it, and love that success.
Because this is a children's book, or a kid's book, if you will. You have 3 of them yourself. You got Livingston, is Livingston still 10?
Yeah, he's 10.
And then Levi 15.
Levi 15, and Vida's 13.
Okay, then you have Vida. It's kind of like you had 3 guinea pigs to kind of run things off of, right? Did they help in any way when it came to constructing, or you bouncing things off of them?
Not as much constructing, but they helped with some of the scenarios. Like there's a couple in here that says, just because, what's it say? Just because I'm finished doesn't mean I'm done. Where is it?
It should have been memorized by now, Matthew.
Yeah, I know I should. I wrote the damn thing. I should know it, right? Just because I'm finished doesn't mean that I'm done. Just because you got the goal doesn't mean that you won. Well, the picture in the first one, just because I'm finished doesn't mean I'm done, is a child saying goodnight. Mama's leaving, right? And as soon as mama leaves, what do? Click, click, turn on the light and start reading or something. You're done. My youngest does that all the time.
Yep.
And he'll pull the book, he got the headlamp in there, he's drawing something or reading something. That's a direct couplet from, I was like, no, that's true. That's pretty good mischief, buddy, that you got away with right there. Just because you got the goal doesn't mean that you won. That's from a prank that we pulled on my mother all the time, and we pull it on our kids. You know how kids, everyone wants to have more presents or the biggest present, right?
Uh-huh.
We're like, okay, we'll get the biggest present. And the kid's like, I got the biggest one. It's surprise. They open it up, and there's another box inside. They open up that box. There's another box inside. They open that box up. There's another box inside. The boxes are getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And then you get down to the last box, and they open it up, and it's like a piece of gum.
No.
And we're like, see, you thought you got the gold. You know what I mean? Or it's a pair of socks. And
yeah.
What?
Now
I thought it was like going to be a bicycle, and it's trying to be a pair of socks. Like, yep.
A tiny thing. Now, Matthew McConaughey, I heard she's nothing to play with. Like, you raise your children a little different than how she raised y'all. So do pranks work well with her around the house? What was the prank?
The prank, well, we used to do it with my mom, the same thing, and we'd have a huge box and let it come all the way down. She'd go through 5 boxes and get to the last one, and it'd be a beautiful Tiffany's box. And she'd be like, oh, you didn't. And then she opened it up, and you know what was inside? What we put inside that?
What?
A Q-tip.
I would have been so upset. I would have been a Q-tip. Matthew, okay. You better not be pulling them tricks on Camila. That's all I'm going to say.
No. Yeah, I slide him in sometimes.
Yeah. If you could pinpoint a life lesson or something that each one of them has taught you as a man or as a father, what would it be?
So my eldest Levi continues to teach me consideration. He's an extremely considerate young man, really considerate. And I appreciate that about him. My daughter teaches me forgiveness. She's a real peacemaker. And my youngest reminds me of the power of absolute singular focus. And because he can get things when he's got a project, whether it's a sport or homework or drawing, and he zeroes in, and you look at him, and the rest of the world is gone. And he's in the work he does. Then how he performs in whatever that task is always exceptional, and it's just laser focus.
I love those lessons. And of course, I can't let you slide because if Camila's listening to this interview, she's going to say, So what has your beautiful wife of over 11 years taught you as well?
She's so wonderful at being a huge fan and promoting what she knows is essential about me and why she loves me and what is the most me. And she puts gas on that fire for me in a way that is so generous and consistent. And sometimes it may even be something that may be harder on her, but she knows if it's true for me and she knows I'm convicted about something and I need that, she'll be like, yep. And she makes incredible, even sometimes small ones, but some sacrifices for me as her husband and her friend, as she does for our family as well.
I love how you melodically speak about her. It's almost enchanting to listen to. So I have an idea. I know you're promoting Just Because, but I'm already moved on to the next book in the series. This is going to be a series, Matthew. This could be a series. And the next, I don't have the title for it, but it could be kind of around the lines of a daddy and mommy book, like a mommy and daddy love each other. Like children can read about that beautiful unit of mommy and daddy. Why daddy loves mommy.
Right. Well, what that lays into a very important thing is, one of the best lessons we can give our kids as a father is show them how I love their mother. As a mother, show their kids how you love their father. And a lot of times that does mean, no, the door's shut and you're not welcome in. Or a lot of times it does mean that mom and dad need their time. A lot of times it means those things, or a lot of times it's just how you show affection. Well, when you're cooking in the kitchen, how you treat each other, how you disagree in front of each other, how you agree, how you show affections, applause, giddy ups, attaboys, love you babes. Those are really great lessons that our kiddos, whether they let they see them there or not, you didn't give them advice, but they saw it and they will clock it.
There are no books on the market like that. This could be a whole series for you, mommy and daddy time. And that way we understand that fights happen. We understand that kissing happens. We understand that, I'll have more people call your people.
We understand that we disagreed and it was the end of the night seemed like we would disagree and you call it a fight or you call it whatever you want to call it. But look at us the next morning. We didn't go to bed holding a grudge, or we will carry on with our responsibilities to each other, even though it's the old, I love you, but I don't like you right now. My mom used to say that. It's a good one. There are times where that can be true, but the love's still there.
You and Camila, how y'all raise them? And again, I'm not in your house, but I like how calm you are as a parent and not how reactive you are. I think that's very telling. And it's a beautiful example for us to see because so many children out there, Matthew, are like, I don't want to tell my dad because he's going to react this way, or I can't tell mom this because she's going to curse me out. And it sounds like you guys have cultivated an environment that your children feel comfortable, safe, and protected and okay being transparent with who they are and how they're evolving.
I hope so. We try. We're not batting 1,000. We're trying to maintain, as my friend says, access to them in their lives. At the same time, there's stuff. That's why I got a treehouse on the front of this thing. Treehouse for me was the first place where it was like, now I can go with my thoughts or my journals that I don't want to share with mom and dad. That's my secret place. Every child needs that too. Every child needs a journal or a diary that they can trust. Mom and dad aren't going through that. That's mine. And you don't have to share everything with us. And part of that, saying that's okay to them, I think allows them to go, well, cool. I've got my own private stuff, so that allows me to share more with you when I want to, hopefully.
I wanted to know, do you see any of your children following in your footsteps as an actor?
Not directly yet. Mm-hmm. I mean, they're all very creative, but I don't know if they're going to go into the arts or specifically be an actor. I think they're going to all be somewhat good storytellers because storytelling is part of our lingo in the house. if you have something to say and, make a presentation. Come on, stand up on the chair. Let's hear it. Speak up. What's your sell? There's salesmen and saleswomen as well. And that comes with good storytelling. So whether it's acting, I don't know, but they do enjoy, one of them's a really good editor. Another one's a really good photographer. And they all at times do like to perform as well. So I don't know. We'll see. Letting them play with all the furniture in the house right now, what they're going to be,
McConaughey agency. I see it.
Dispatch. How we doing?
I'm curious, with your mama being Camila and your daddy being Matthew McConaughey, I'm curious, do they know who they are? Like, how are you raising them as normal kids? This is a question that gets brought up all the time.
And we've talked about it. There are certain things that, their last name will precede them and have expectations from strangers or soon to become friends. They have had, maybe people that wanted to be friends with them because of their last name. And hang on, well, that is your last name, but is that really a friend? Is that a genuine friend? They want to be friends with you for the right reasons.
Yeah.
And we try to help them navigate that. But at the same time, don't want them to be entitled, because our last name can lead to some entitlement if you let it. And I don't want that to happen for them. And we feel pretty good about that with them. At the same time, that's their last name. They're McConaughey's for a reason. Own that. Heart high, head high. You are. That is a fact. Never shy away from that. Own that.
I love that. There's a sense of pride there, but hey, don't take it too far. We're never in
honor and humility, trying to balance those two.
So it sounds like they understand the level of fame that they kind of.
I believe so. I mean, they're still learning along the way. Look, they've only seen 8% of the movies I've made. They're not ready for, a lot of that. I've made a lot of R-rated movies. They'll see those later. I actually think that there's going to be a day down the line, maybe 5 years from now, or a couple of them are going to come to me and go, "Bye. I saw you in." Wow. Okay. I think those days are coming, because right now, even if they can see something I'm in, they kind of say, "Yeah, I want to see that," but it won't be their first pick.
What's the number one movie that you're kind of like dreadful or dreading them to see?
I don't have any that I'm dreading them to see. They're just not ready for, they're getting close to being ready for, eldest ones are getting close to being ready for like an Interstellar. Look, none of them are ready for True Detective in my mind right now. You know what I mean? Yeah. They could be ready. They're getting close to being ready for like a Dallas Buyers Club. They're getting, they've seen some of the action comedies. They've seen some of the romantic comedies. They seem to like them okay. But some of the dramas, they're just not ready. They're just not ready for. They'll have some questions after they go see Killer Joe for Popeye.
They really will. Are there any conversations in the household about them? They're getting of age now, Dad. Dating, maybe?
Oh yeah, we have already. We're starting those discussions, and I think they come with the teen years. There are dating. There's who do you like? Why? What are you looking for? Why do you like him? This person? Why does he or she like you? And then those start to those start to lead into the birds and bees talks, which are really awesome, intimidating, and cool to have.
Another book in the series. Matthew,
that one I'm ahead of you on that one. I've got that because I've talked to a lot of my other friends, mothers and fathers that are at that same time with their children. And they're like, what did you say? Where do you go? And there's not, that I know of, many safe, cool places to go to have those essential talks about one's body, about one's attraction to another, about what a first kiss is like, and so all those things, just to talk about them. And because we come into it, you want to be, I remember mine, I wanted it to be perfect. I mean, I got the old lip hung up on her braces deal, and I was hung up and had a bloody lip from it. And yes, we bumped noses going in, and I didn't want any of that to happen. It was clumsy.
How old were you and where were you at?
I think I was 14 on a nature trail.
What was her name?
None of your business.
I know. And the lie detector determined Woody Harrelson is your brother. So what are your thoughts on talk show host legend Maury Povich saying that he's willing to come out of retirement to help you with this DNA scandal that your mother kind of sort of created?
Well, he won't be the only one that wants to be there to check that DNA test. We're gonna have that's part of our plan is to find out on scientifically down the line here. We've got some plans for that, and when we will be sharing that and sharing that live information as we learn it live.
Just because, why is this the book that every parent and even adult needs to pick up?
Well, look, kids are being told by the world that they need to be absolute about something. You hear, what are you going to do? What are you going to be? But you're like, whoa, man, I'm a kid. Let me try some things out. Or, you know, I'm excited about this, but I'm nervous and I'm confused why I feel both of these things. No, that's cool. You're supposed to. You can have both feelings at the same time. You can have dueling feelings. You can feel one way today about something and tomorrow feel a different way about the same situation. And this starts to confuse us and confuse young people. It's saying, hey, that's okay. That's part of the poetry of living. So there's a proper leniency in here, I think, that will allow access for parents to talk to their kids and for kids to talk to their parents and say, well, tell me about a situation you're in like that in your life, mom, dad. And it opens the conversation to say, hey, life's a lyric. It's poetry to live in.
Matthew McConaughey, everybody. Just because. And how can they grab the book?
How can you grab the book or get out there and grab the book?
Get out there and grab the book.
Check it out. It'll be a great conversation between you and your loved ones.
Thank you so much, Matthew. Congratulations again. Thanks for your time. Seriously.
Yes, ma'am.
Bye now.
All right, bye.